Okay, not the normal motorbike stuff, but we're just looking at this little 2009 Audi A3 Cabriolet. It's been stood for a long time. Put a battery on it, lit up like a Christmas tree. Cleared a lot of stuff down, but there's a couple of faults that aren't going to go. So one of them is this. Let's have a look. So it's the picture of the headlight leveling system, because it's got xenon bulbs in the headlight. Obviously they're very focused on, beam direction, and if you unload or put weight in the back and the beam comes up even on dip, you're going to dazzle somebody. Obviously the engine management lights on because they haven't started up, but the ESP and the steering, they'll go as soon as you drive the car, but obviously I've only just put a battery on it, so I'm not going to be moving anywhere. But this is the one we're interested in, so let's plug in and we'll be back in a second and read the fault code, see what it says. See you in a second. Okay, we're hooked in and switched on. Let's do a VIN search. Is it going to pick him up? It should do. She's having a look. This is this BT Think Car BT Think Scan 689 BT. So we've found the VIN, make the Audi. So it's all looking good. We've got a good connection. Still loading some other stuff, whatever that may be. And we're in. So we want a status report. Let's have a look. So it's now going through engine, transmission, brakes, climate control, central electric, parallel parking, didn't even know I had it, don't think it has. Engine electronics, airbag, steering column electronics, instrument cluster, data bus, anti-theft immobilizer, driver's door electronics, power steering. So it's going to come up with a file with that because it needs to be driven a few hundred meters back into. Comfort system central, I don't know what that one is. Sound system, passenger door, headlamp range control, that's the one we're interested in. Radio, not interested, but it's okay. Battery regulation, left rear door. The reason it comes up left and rear right door electronics, even though it's only a two-door, is because it still has windows aft of the driver and passenger. So even though there's no door there, it has aft electric windows, electric quarters or whatever. And it, it's the same on my EOS. It says, rear passenger, rear driver's side doors, and there is none, but it's the window control. So headlamp range control, that's the one we're interested in. Power steering, we know that one will go away as soon as I move the vehicle. Comfort system, so I would imagine that's that little alarm horn up inside the wheel arch, front wheel arch on the driver's side. See, they got water in it or something. They don't last very long once the vehicle's a few years old. But this is the one we're interested in. So it's the front levelling. There's two sensors, one at the front, one at the back, and they're both on the near side, mostly on the UK cars. So it's saying it's the front one that's gone, and it's 00496, sensor for vehicle levelling front. So it's either open circuit or short to ground, short to plus. So if I clear it, I know it's not going to go away, so I'm just wasting my time. Go on, we'll do it while we're here. So now it's going to go through again quickly. So it's done a clear, and now it's away. and I think it only this time looks at the things that had faults, so it's quite quick when it does the second scan. And I know they're all gonna come back, and they have. And there's our headlight range control defective, and we know which one it is now. It's the front left. So let's pull the wheel off and let's have a look. Okay, we're wheel off, jacked up, stand under, and we're away. So here's the unit here. So it's fastened obviously onto the lower arm, and then you've got some form of potentiometer, I would imagine, plug on the top, so it's bolted physically to the bottom engine frame, or whatever you want to call it, aluminium subframe. So, and the bottom arm, so obviously as the suspension moves up and down, this thing's gonna move up and down. So I've got my screwdriver. This one normally fits these plugs, so you've got to kind of, if you can get in there, got to try and lever it up. Sometimes they click, sometimes they don't. Come on, click, baby. But I always push down first and then pull, and we go in, and we're off. So there's our, and even though it's a 4-pin plug, there's only 3 terminals inside it. I wonder if we can just get the mud off there. Identify, let's just take it up a tad. Identify, can I get that off? Identify the wires. Just carefully tease this back, he said. We're in. Roll it back. Will it slide up without lubrication? Yeah. So there's the plug. I'm not going to back probe it connected, because they're easily, it's a waterproof plug obviously. I don't want to damage the integrity of those seals. So what have we got? We've got a brown, we've got a blue, and we've got a black. So how are they laid out? So let's try and identify. So that the configuration is, the brown one is that lower left, top left is brown. No, let's get this right, turn it the right way around. Getting all twisted up here. Difficult to see. Top two. That, let's do it that way around. Brown, blue, black. So, just so happens I've already got the power probe hooked in. So this is going to be the brown, and it's a ground. Black is 1 volt, whatever it might be, a sine wave, I don't know. Could it be Limbus? And the blue, 1.1 volts. So let's turn the ignition on and see what happens. Back in a second. Okay, we're powered. So there's our 5 volt reference, and now I've got 10.6 volts, so this bottom one's got to be the ground. So I've got everything I need there, so it's going to be the sensor, isn't it? So if you're looking at the pins where the blank is at the lower right, top left is 5 volt reference, top right is 10.6 volts, and lower left is the ground. Okay, so let's get some spanners and let's whiz it off. So back in a second. Okay, you only need, looking at them, you only need an M10. So one at the bottom underneath the lower arm and one on the engine subframe or front subframe or whatever it's called. So let's do this one first. Is it going to snap off? And by the way, I just thought I'd have a look. It's coming at the back one, and it's a good job that I did. What I was planning on doing was even though it's got a different bracketry arrangement, I was going to unbolt the back one and just plug it in. So it seems to be moving all right, just to see if the fault cleared on the front. Obviously then I've had a fault on the back, but it's got to be this unit anyway. But luckily the ball joint on the back one, the lower ball joint, was full of rust and the arm had come off. So I've actually just cleaned it up and greased it and just popped the ball joint back on, so that the lower ball joint on the back was off. So it's a good job I did look anyway. So I wouldn't have had a fault, but it certainly wouldn't have worked. So it's another M6 bolt with a 10AF head size, and it's into aluminium, so it's not rusted in. And the back ones are held in with torque bits, and it's so rusty up there, I think I'd have ended up grinding the heads off and starting again. So I'm glad I haven't had to touch it. But there it is, we're out. So I'm going to order one. I think they're about 30 quid, 35 quid or something. And hopefully when it goes in, the fault will be cleared. So we'll see you in a short while for you, but be for a couple of days for me. See you in a bit, folks. Okay, I'm just struggling a tad with this part. I can see plenty of them, you know, around the 30 quid mark or whatever, but nothing comes up for an A3 Cabriolet, because I think it was only the Cabriolet that's got the xenons. And so I phoned up Audi, and the shock of my life, I've got the part number. Look at that. And plus VAT's got to go on that as well. And there's nil stock in the UK. You can order it, it'll take about a week. They're on drugs, that price is frightening. So I daren't order one at that price. I think that's ridiculous, without absolutely making sure that this is the issue, which I'm sure it is. But I'm going to take the rear one off. I'll probably have to cut it off, cut the heads of the bolts off, because it's rusted in so solid. I know the bracketry is different, but just so I can swap them over to see if the fault transfers to the back. And then I'm hoping that number can come up and be like a, I don't know, Mark 5 GTI Golf or something, I don't know. Anyway, let me get that back one off, and we'll swap the centres over front to back, see if the fault code transfers from one end to the other, because there's no way, if we have to buy this part, I want to make absolutely sure that it is this thing and nothing else. So we'll be back in a second when we've got the back one off, and we'll have a look. See you in a sec. Okay, eventually I did get the back one off, and the bracketry is totally different, the length of the arm is different, but the actual units themselves are the same. So I'm going to swap them over now. But how this is fitted, it's obviously in the top subframe at the back, and it's held in the it's got M5 riv nuts. They were absolute no chance. Tried chiselling them, left them soaking in penetrating oil. I had to get in from the back with a little grinding disc on the Dremel and cut them off from the back and punch them out through the front. So I've got a couple of they're going back in brass with nuts on the back. So if anybody in the future has to take them off, at least they'll be able to. So they're off. We're now going to swap them. I'm not going to bolt them in, I'm just going to plug them in, leave them hanging, and we'll just do a quick scan and see if the fault moves to the back. So we'll see you in the car in a second with the scan tool. Okay, we plugged in, we switched on, VIN search. The sensors have been swapped over. Obviously I've still got my error code on the dash for the headlight levelling, which is an MOT failure, that's why we have to do it. So, booting up. Checking the VIN. Hopefully all good. Yep. Status report. Hooked in, going down the list. I mean, I probably could have done this. I have Carista as well, so I could have used the Carista, but stick with this one. Well, we used it for the first diag. This also generates a report that you can look back in the history, keeps the VIN number, whatever scan you've done, and keeps the fault codes, unless you want to delete them, but it's nice to keep a bit of history. I'm not sure how big the memory is, but you know, they're only like simple text files, so they won't be taking up much. So headlamp range control, come back one fault. We know it's going to come up with that alarm fault because I think the sirens. But now here we go. I can't remember, was it 96 the other one? This one's 0097. Sensor for vehicle levelling rear, open or short to plus. So I'm happy. I mean, it's my mate's car, and you know, I'm not going to spend, what was it, 250 odd quid for the sensor and let him make the decision. Or with that part number, I can see if I can find an aftermarket one for a Golf or something, because that is a ridiculous price. Anyway, we've absolutely proved it. There is the sensor, nothing else. So even if we have to bite the bullet and spend the 250 odd plus VAT, it is what it is. So I'm going to do some research now, see if I can find one with that part number at a reasonable price. If I can, we'll be back on the next bit. See you shortly. Okay, I didn't go for the £234.60 plus VAT for it from Audi. I put that number in the internet search and came up with this from Amazon at 27 quid, 28 quid with the postage. So there we are. There is a difference. The only difference is the length of this arm. This arm is about 10mm longer, but I'm just going to pop the ball joints off and put that arm on the new unit. And hopefully when I plug it in it's going to work anyway, but I cannot see any other physical difference. Everything else is exactly the same. So let's swap the arms over, drop it on the car, switch on, have a scan. What can possibly go wrong? It'll only be a small fire. See you in a second. Okay folks, there is nothing simple, not in this life. So the one that I bought from Amazon, fitted it, and it came up with a new fault code, which was this one here, 01537, vehicle level sensor supply voltage short to ground. So that's historical. That was the the original fault, but this one became active. So I contacted the supplier, and they said sometimes it have to be exactly vehicle specific. Post it back and we'll give you your money back, which I did, and I ended up going to breaker link, where you just put your information in online, what you want, and exactly the year, exactly the VIN number, the exact model, everything. You can buy a second-hand one, and it was 39 quid, fitted, and I have cleared the fault codes. I obviously did clear the fault codes, but you know, the error went off the screen straight away. So that's booked in for the MOT next week, and hopefully it's done. There was something that came through the post. I'll just have to hide the address. And this was a safety recall for the, whatever it is, the ESC control unit, where it may get hot and fail. So I can't take it at the moment because it's not MOT'd, but it's going to take 45 minutes at your local Audi dealers. So when I've got it MOT'd, I'll drop it in for this, and I can give it back, because I've now had the car for nearly 2 weeks. But it's a job done, and MOT next Wednesday, and everyone will be a happy bunny. So there we go, folks. A simple task which wasn't so simple, and sometimes it's better to buy a genuine second-hand part, because there was no way we were going to pay £234.60 plus VAT, and it was nil stock anyway in the UK, and we eventually got it for 39 quid. So it's worth. I was checking with BreakerLink, they phone round, or they don't phone round, but all the good car breakers are linked to them, and it goes up on their site. They'll look to see if they've got the bit part, and I got about 4 or 5 quotes going from 70 quid down to 39 quid. I got the cheapest one, bite me, but yeah, job done. But yeah, that's a good site, that, if you're looking for second-hand parts without being ripped off for the price of new ones. Anyway, job done, and we will catch you on the next video, folks. See you later.